Listening to Paradigm Shift Radio is like getting a boost of conscious medicine. This is Skull Babylon, and you're about to listen to episode 52 of PSR, in which we welcome on hip-hop artist Kapwon, representative of Guerrilla Republic within the UK, to talk about how hip-hop culture is a catalyst for the emerging spiritual energy seen throughout life itself. With our good friend Von Halford joining us, who is also a hip-hop artist, we covered a solid variety of content, including the roots and intention of the hip-hop culture, creative inspiration found within it, and how anyone can be inspired to start expressing themselves, the conscious shift in the UK, sacred geometry, and unifying as a global collective under the flag of the flower of life, so to speak. We are consciousness doing whatever it can to wake itself up on a global scale, and without a doubt, all of us have a role to play. Join us again for future episodes of Paradigm Shift Radio, or go back and listen to previous timeless episodes on iTunes or YouTube. Like and connect with the community at facebook.com/ParadigmShiftRadio and help share this episode further as we all continue to boost. We are the flow within the flower. Spiral out and enjoy the show. Hello, international friends. This is Skull Babylon, aka Brendon Wolfshield Colton. Rather, I think it's technically the other way around. Brendon is who I am. Skull Babylon is just an alias, a handle that I use when we're doing a lot of this consciousness shifting media stuff, which is what we're doing here tonight live on Paradigm Shift Radio. If you have not tuned into Paradigm Shift Radio before, Paradigm Shift Radio is a branch of Paradigm Shift Central, and Paradigm Shift Central is a global collective of communities all across the world that are working together to be able to bring more consciousness into this world. And what does that mean? Well, that's some of the things we're going to be talking about tonight on the show with our guest, Kapwon artist, who is out of the UK. He is a really inspirational guy. He's really involved with a lot of stuff that is happening over there, just in terms of understanding like where the culture is at its current place in time and where it's been, obviously having lived in it for the majority of his life. So he'll be on in a bit, a hip-hop artist, and we'll be playing some samples of his music, so stay tuned for that, and we'll be really getting into some awesome conversation about where his inspiration's coming from, what consciousness is like over in the UK, sacred geometry, and a whole bunch more. So again, facebook.com/ParadigmShiftRadio is what you want to check out if you haven't checked it out yet. And just in terms of what is new within the community, well, the big news and the big thing that I've been posting about in the past couple of days on Facebook, on my and just state the obvious for those of you who aren't connected to my Facebook, Facebook.com/SkullBabylon and YouTube.com/SkullBabylon is where you can connect with me, because you'll see me posting about the new Journey to Lucidity movie, which is launched and available now through the Indiegogo campaign, and I'm really excited to be able to get that out there and to be able to work towards our goal as a community. And a lot of you have heard me talking about it in the past. Short and basic of it is it's a movie about my experience through a transformational festival. Transformational festivals are these events that are happening. A lot of them are happening like in America, but they're also happening in all over places of the world. I mean, they're more than just music festivals. They're places where people are gathering and taking part in a lot of conversation related to like this reality and the bigger picture, and also having workshops and also getting really involved with like yoga and meditation and celebration and community, obviously. And it's family friendly, and that's what I was at back in April, the Lucidity Festival in April 2013, lucidityfestival.com, and that was a blast, and I made a movie out of it, which was my intention, and that is what it is available right now to check out at facebook.com/journey-to-lucidity, or you can contribute and click right into the Indiegogo campaign, which is in the link for this episode. So if you're listening to this episode through Blog Talk, you'll see some links posted in the show notes. If you click those, you will be jumped off page and might be pulled away from the show, so just make sure you right-click and then open up in a new tab is my suggestion. But if you guys can donate and do that while we're listening to the show, then that would just be awesome right off the bat, and we will continue to create awareness about that, because as I've mentioned before, is that basically it is not just my story, it is our story. It is our story of where we are as consciousness, and there's a reason that it's called The Planted Seed. And I know our buddy Kapwon, he hasn't watched it yet. It is on his plate of things to do, but I mean, in terms of like the theme of the pine cone throughout it, I'm sure he would really be able to appreciate that. And he's really into the sacred geometry as himself, so we're going to be talking about that tonight on the show. So before we get things rolling, I'd like to be able to bring on Von Halford. Von Halford, can you just confirm for me like the first three digits of your area code because I have a couple people. I think, are you, yeah, okay, you're 904, perfect. All right, so Vaughn, I'm going to bring you onto the air, and then we are going to go from there. Those of you who do not know Vaughn Halford is from a group called Horse Rising, and also this new project called Project Neon, facebook.com/Project Neon, and Horse Rising, I'll get him to update you on the website for that if it's still where it's at. And basically, he is a hip-hop artist himself as well, so that's why I'm having him on the show tonight to be able to talk with Kapwon about the theme of spirituality within hip-hop, which is something that, I mean, I appreciate hip-hop, but I honestly am not going to pretend that I, like, know enough about it. Like, I love Kapwon stuff, and I've only been listening to that for, like, last, 4 or 5 days, because who Kapwon is, he is actually part of G-Rep, which is Guerrilla Republic, which is the group of, like, artists conglomerating, including hip-hop artists, or I believe they may all be hip-hop artists, and he is part of that. He is a representative for that, where he is in the UK. Let's get things moving along right here. So, Vaughn, I'm going to bring you onto the air and just plug yourself further, and then we'll bring Kapwon on in the next minute or two. So, Vaughn, if you're ready, we're going to bring you on to Paradigm Shift Radio. Here we go.
Peace, Aki. This is Vaughn Halford from not Project Neon, but Generation Neon.
Well, I called it Project Generation Neon, which is
You didn't say Generation.
Maybe I didn't. Okay, well, yeah. It's still pretty cool, man.
There.
Pretty badass name.
Anyways,
what's up, dude?
But yeah, I've just been working on music, getting more stuff set up. We're definitely set to go for the 3 Days of Light festival. I don't know if you're going to that this year.
Not too sure yet.
You're not too sure yet if you're going?
Yeah, I'm also not too sure. I mean, man, like, a week is a long time away. A month is such a long time. I was reflecting on that yesterday. Like, can you even just think how much has happened to you in the last month? Like a lifetime in itself, man. But anyways, that's in October. 3DL, just to plug it real quick. Yeah, just to plug 3DL, like, they're our buddies, and that's where me and Vaughn met in person, and that was like a whole movie in itself, Journey to Rockmont 3 Days of Light. Check it out. But 3DL, 3 Days of Light, is a festival happening again in October this year, and I guess 3DLgathering.com is probably the place that you can go check it out. And yeah, so Vaughn. Go ahead.
I'm still getting friend requests from people who watch your documentary. Like, even yesterday I got more, and they're like,
really,
I saw you in 3DL, so I'm sending you a friend request. You were on Skull Babylon's documentary. So, guys, if Skull Babylon's having a documentary next to you, you should get into that documentary. It's good for your exposure.
That's right, and that's Journey to Lucidity 2014 is where you want to be.
Which
so
I finally watched today, your Journey to Lucidity movie.
You did? Okay, yeah. Can we get the quick Vaughn Halford review?
The Vaughn Halford review of the Journey to Lucidity, that was a really, really well-made documentary. I didn't expect it to be that well-made. It was actually really good. I found myself really sucked into it for the first time. Because I remember I watched the 3 Days of Light. Maybe it's because I was actually there that I just wasn't too into it. Like, I already seen this, But like when I watched this one, I really felt like I was there with you, even though I wasn't there. And it was also it was kind of a trippy experience watching it, because I don't know if did you script that stuff, what the people said to you, or was it just all random?
No, man. Like, it was all, my original vision of how it was going to be did not be what it turned out to be, which was like part of the huge lesson in the process of doing it. But no, I mean, there was like nothing really in there that was like scripted. So it was me just kind of like seeing things in the moment and going with it. But Vaughn, I'd like to just be able to keep things rolling along here. We can talk about my movie, a whole other time. But let's bring Kapwon on. And again, so I mean, this is Kapwon artist. I mean, he is an artist all in himself. Like, he represents himself, and he's also part of Guerrilla Republic. And we're gonna find out more about what that is. So, Kapwon artist, if you are ready, we are bringing you live onto Paradigm Shift Radio. So here we go. Hello.
Yo, can you hear me?
Yo, man. Yeah,
yes.
We can hear you, I think.
Yeah,
is there, I'm just saying, I can hear a little bit of an echo in the background. Might just be phone opposed to computer that's on.
Okay, hold up, man. Let me just check this. Yeah, it's probably the echo from the computer. Is it there now?
Let me just double check. Vaughn, are we hearing it? Yeah, I think that solved the problem. So, all right, we are sorted out technical wise. So, all right, man, we can hear you loud and clear. Welcome.
All right, thanks a lot. Thanks for having me on, man.
Much love. So with I'll let you just sort of introduce yourself in your own words, and then we'll get things rolling into Guerrilla Republic and just explain. Actually, you can explain that all in the introduction, I imagine. So
Okay,
for the people
sure,
who aren't out there, go for it. Who is Kapwon?
I'm an artist from the UK, and I'm an artist in many senses of the word. I paint, I hold community workshops where I teach the younger generation to paint, and specialize in spray painting. I make music, and dabble in a small amount of production, and also run a clothing line as well.
For sure, man, for sure.
So,
And sorry, Vaughn, I was just going to say, Vaughn, as things get rolling along, like, as many people know with Paradigm Shift Radio, it's not like an interview. It's more of like a conversation. This is, what we do here is practice for what we need to bring into everyday life. It's just being able to express some of the ideas about who we are and what we're interested in. So, again, for the people listening to this, just think of this as more of like a conversation. So, Vaughn, you have my permission to add to the conversation. But as we just, for the can you explain like more about like the fact that like you're a representative for Guerrilla Republic? Like what does that entail?
Sure, no problem, man. Well, basically, the mission statement of Guerrilla Republic is as follows: Guerrilla Republic draws its inspiration from the first successful slave revolt in Haiti, 1794. This rebellion exemplifies unity, strength, determination, and the will of God. Our mission is to stimulate minds and expand the dynamics of thinking in our inner cities and motivate individuals to take a proactive approach to life through education, self-reliance, and preparedness. Only the realists feel this. And the mission statement kind of speaks for itself, and Guerrilla Republic is now a global organization, and we just reached our 10th year, just gone on the 13th of this month. We marked 10 years of Guerrilla Republic, and now the group is established worldwide, and we've got chapters pretty much from all corners of the globe, from Europe, Africa, North America, South America, all over, man. And Guerrilla Republic consists of artists, they hold community events, like food runs in America. Guerrilla Republic worked to preserve the roots of hip-hop and what hip-hop was originally about, which kind of seems to have got lost with a lot of the mainstream message and a lot of the stuff that you see on TV and a lot of the stuff that you hear on the radio. The core message of hip-hop doesn't seem to be there anymore, and Guerrilla Republic take pride in preserving the true aspects of hip-hop.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'm sure...
Which originally, I don't know if you guys know too much about hip-hop, but obviously hip-hop originally was... it consisted of different elements of breakdancing, of graffiti, of DJing. Rapping was just a small part of it. Everyone seems to think that the hip-hop, that the rapper, he makes hip-hop, but the rapper was just there to complement the beats, And so, yeah, Guerrilla Republic, we're preserving the roots and making sure that the next generation, they get handed down something decent as opposed to the mainstream nonsense.
Very interesting. Do you know about the Zulu Nation?
Yes, we work very closely with the Zulu Nation and Guerrilla Republic.
I was about to say, you just described our whole mission statement. I'm like, is he with us? I'm like, so yeah, you guys are alliance with the Universal Zulu Nation?
Yeah, for sure, man, for sure.
Yeah,
right,
and
cool.
Vaughn here, he's been going off about the Zulu Nation for the last little while. Those of you who see like some of the admin
really
chat. But yeah, go ahead, man. Plug that.
All these groups have like
right?
a very similar goal in mind. And I mean, like, the only difference between like us and Paradigm Shift is that like Paradigm Shift is just doing more of the mental and the spiritual aspect, while like Universal Zulu Nation and what sounds like the Guerrilla Republic, we're also like preserving the elements of hip hop, which is knowledge, b-boying, and MC and DJing, and so like and graph writing. But it's really interesting because like as a culture, like it almost seems like what we're doing is like spreading out and influencing other people to the point where like they're no longer being influenced by just what is like on the top, like, you know, just these and stuff, like, you know, people like Skull Babylon and stuff, like, you know, what inspired you to come onto this path? You know, it's almost like the whole world is shifting into a new age, and, you know, like, we've been saying that, and a lot of us know that, but I mean, like, it's really interesting to see it happening, because for the longest time, like, when I would talk about stuff like this, the only people I could talk to it to would be other people who are into hip-hop culture, and now it's like people outside of hip-hop culture are like, they're starting their new movement where they're going to do this, this, and this, which is exactly the same things that the culture has been doing since the beginning, you know. And I mean, but that culture, like hip-hop culture, goes way back before 1973. It's a spirit that's been within all of us, and, you know, it's that same spirit that we're like honoring through our culture, you know. So it's like we're doing the same thing. You know, and it's really interesting to see.
That's for real, man.
And the aspect, see what you kind of touched on there. It brings us on to something important, which is this kind of label that's thrown about of like spiritual hip hop. Because for me, hip hop, as you said, hip hop, it didn't start in the late 80s. It didn't start in the 70s. It wasn't a recent thing. The practice of banging your drum and of rhyming over the drum. That is a very, very, very ancient practice that was practiced in Africa a long, long time ago. And there's a brother from the UK called Akala, and he holds a TED Talk, and he goes very in depth into the cultural roots of hip hop that are a lot older than people could actually probably imagine. And this spiritual aspect of the drum and the heartbeat, like the hip hop is just kind of a modern version of it. I think hip hop is like hip hop is the evolution of this ancient practice of the natives, the wisdom keepers. They would have had wisdom keepers that held the knowledge, that held on to the knowledge, and like the bards in Ireland, they had bards, and these people, they were privileged to the knowledge, and they put it out through music. And I think that this practice is what hip hop is now. That there is a very real element of hip hop that has preserved the ancient knowledge and the wisdom and the spiritual aspect, the true spiritual aspects of this music.
Yeah.
And I think that right there, that is a formidable force. And I think that right there is the reason that they put so much rubbish out in the mainstream and so much negative music out there to counter that, because they know how powerful that is. And if that ever was to rise, then the situation
changes everything.
Yeah,
and that's kind of what's been happening. You know, people are starting to wake up. They don't want to hear the garbage anymore. Like, and it's gotten so bad that like now it's ridiculous. Like, the only people who would listen to the kind of stuff they put on the radio now, it's pitiful. But the worst part of it is that there are people out there that could get a lot from it, but they won't even listen to hip hop because they don't even know what it is. You know,
like it's outside their reality. Like, it literally is. Like.
Yeah, and I mean, it's sad because like it's still affecting them, like without them knowing about it, and eventually, like they'll eventually come across it. I feel that, but you know, it's like I feel like they are doing all they can in their power to keep the majority of people to find out what it is, where it came from. I mean, like it even goes so far back as like look at like some of the earlier years of hip hop and why did it become popular when it did, and what was going on in the world? That whole time, that whole Generation X, our entire media, there's a whole blackout, even in our history books from it. We just don't learn about that. We don't know about the crack generation. We don't learn about that. We don't learn about what our government did to us. And so, like, they're trying to block that out. And that was only, you know what, like 40 years ago, like 30 years ago? Like, so, like, why don't we know about it? You know, it's really interesting that we know so much about the 200 years. Like, well, it's different in the UK, but like here in America, like we're taught U.S. history for like 4 years, the same regurgitated stuff, and they barely touch on anything that happened during that era. They just completely blot it out, so we never actually really learn about it. And they do that on purpose because they're getting back into the same groove again, where they're doing all these false flag operations and stuff, and they're getting people. They're passing all these really strange laws that invade our privacy, so they're going to be able to start tagging stuff on innocent people. You know.
Yeah, man, and I think, well, basically it's like two sides of the same coin, and as we see people awakening, like, it's not up for debate that there is most definitely a global awakening going on. That's not a David Icke theory, you know. There's been protests all over the world over the last year or so, over the last 2 years, there've been protests pretty much on each of the continents of the planet, like from all over. And as we see, like Turkey, Brazil, these protests don't show any sign of weakening or getting any smaller. It seems to be increasing. So on the other side of the coin, it's like the authorities have to react to that, and they have to take away more rights, and they have to come down with more force and counter with more force because they're scared, you know, and they're scared of the conscious awakening, and they're scared of what will happen when the people are united and when the people are fully awake.
Yeah. Well, guys, I mean, that was Vaughn. I mean, yeah, it's. I'm glad you guys got the chance to have this conversation together, because both of you are just hitting on a lot of like key points there. Now, in terms of where we want to take this conversation, because just to sort of like paint the picture, Kapwon, I mean, this is a 2-hour show. It is 1:30 in the morning where you are, so I mean, stick around as long as you feel the need to choose to. You know, we
it's cool, man. It's cool.
So in terms of the conversation, you know, there's a few things that we can take this. I mean, I agree with a lot, if not all, of what you guys are saying. And one thing I'll just sort of add, at least from my perspective, you know, when we talk about, in the same way that spiritual hip hop is an energy, like that, well, both of you were kind of saying that it's a physical manifestation of of that spirit dormant within us that is trying to just like, not like, you know, like literally just like kind of like that light that is trying to like shine through the place within us, and it's just a matter of like the dust on top of it that's preventing it from coming out. But in the same way that energy exists, the energy that is kind of not against that, but almost like a polarity to that, which we often recognize as the reason why people protest, and kind of what you're saying about like security just like building itself up. Something is trying to prevent this from happening. Like that energy in itself is an equal like important part of this picture, because like that is like what is making us stronger. You know, like hip hop wouldn't be what it is unless like the culture itself had been tested like under the, you know, under like the hammer kind of, and that like chiseled it, right? Like, and it really made it into something that is potent.
I don't think any other genre could have withstood the attack that hip hop has either, because any other genre would really have folded in the face of what hip hop has been subjected to, you know, because it has been subjected to untold amounts of disinformation.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, guys, just to give you a heads up, we do have the sample track of Kapwon's work. We can share that in the next couple of minutes, and or we can share it now. What do you guys think? Because I mean, I think at this point the audience has a pretty good idea of you know, what it is where we're coming from. But what I'm sure they'd be equally interested in is like where the inspiration, you know, like our individual, you kind of where, how you're awakening, or so to speak, because everybody's got their own awakening process. And a big part of why I'm excited to do this show, if many of you remember a while back, we had an episode where we had our buddy from Paradigm Shift Israel, Arlan, and he was on, and that was like really insightful, because here in Canada, I'm just like, I don't live in Israel, I don't know what the conscious shift is happening like over there, I can't see it. But in the same way, it's the same way with like the UK. Like I can't see what's happening over there. Kapwon, like he is in the inside of it. He's gonna be able to like tell us what the conscious shift is like in the UK for those of us not there ourselves. And just like a little side note, you know, let this mean whatever you choose to let it mean to you. Like I myself, I've mentioned this in the past, like I'm half British myself. My grandparents, they had like a British accent, so I mean, and part of me is like what, you know, is the energy of UK in some way or another. So I mean, there's an extra push for me to just be able to really you know, like back what is happening, be interested by what is unfolding there. So just a couple things I just sort of wanted to mention there. Now, what going back to the idea of playing the track, should we play the track now? Is there any retort against that? Or
I did want to clarify one thing before we go ahead, Vaughn. Anything else? But when you said spiritual hip hop again, like just to clarify, like what we need to take back the term hip hop again, because like when I see all these people making stuff like this is spiritual hip hop, or this is new age hip hop, I'm like, you guys, this is what hip hop is. Take it back. It's like the swastika. Like it's not. It's become like it's an evil symbol now. We can't say hip hop. It's got to have another word before it now. Like no, like that's what hip hop was. This whole spiritual thing. That's what it was since the beginning.
100%.
For sure. And I think that segues us nicely into Kapwon's track here, which is the title of it.
It's probably best to clarify as well, that like, obviously I just want to clarify one thing from my position, that obviously Israel doesn't exist. It's all Palestine territories, you know.
All right. Again, like, I don't even, like, yeah, I don't have opinions on that and whatever, so, well,
That's fine. You're entitled to your opinion, and I just wanted to state my opinion on that. No.
Yeah, man, because, I mean, I guess that's, again, like, that's like a culture thing. I mean, I guess that is, like, a topic, a pressing issue that's sort of something that comes up, like, in the UK. Like, yeah, like, I don't watch the news enough. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. All right, man. Well, thank you for like standing on where you stating your point on that. Now, with this song that we got, Star Child, anything you want to say to sort of set us up? Because I was just going to mention, like Vaughn was talking about like spiritual hip hop or whatever, but what we were talking about earlier is like hip hop being like a catalyst to carry ancient information forward into where we are, into like the context of modern day society. And I think you do that like beautifully, if I must say, like in the track that we're about to play. Just people who listen to this, you'll hear like there's some key things like you're talking about in this song, and I don't want to spoil it. I'll just let people listen to it. But Kapwon, is there anything else you want to say to set this song up as we go into it?
No. My music can speak for itself.
All right, said like a true artist. So, guys, I'm just going to mute us real quick, and we're going to play this track. So I'll bring you guys back after the song, and it is a 3-minute track. So again, just like chill out, just do whatever you need to do, but really appreciate what Kapwon has put into this track. And it is also available through the website kapwonartist.co.uk. So Kapwon Artist, Kapwon artist.co.uk is where you can check out more of his stuff, and his t-shirts and a whole bunch of other things that he's got going on. So again, Star Child by Kapwon Artist on Paradigm Shift Radio. Enjoy.
And the molecular structure in its crystalline form is a 6-pointed star, and this has been proven scientifically.
I am Star Child, a child from the stars. My style's gold like the temples of Amritsar. Astral projection, ancestral resurrection. Guerrilla Republic, UK lyrical perfection. Manifest the world through my third eye. Picture cap in my garden, pruning my bonsai. High five as we struggle to survive, but no matter what happens, we keep a positive vibe. I am the soul that walked before the flood. From the stars in my eyes to the iron in my blood. Strict meditation whilst mentioning mantras. The council estate poet writing love stanzas. Can't take the heat, come the fuck out the kitchen. I rhyme about Anunnaki like Zachariah Stinson. From Earth to Venus, with luck for the sun. I sit at night and count the 7 sisters one by one. I am a star child with no need for a radio. I communicate through using the golden ratio. You can only perceive so much with a sense, and time is an illusion that consciousness represents. Tibetan monks levitated stones with sound, and the intelligence of the ancient world was profound. New Grange Island and the sacred spirals, but my ancestors are portrayed as primitive and tribal. Indian Brahmanas were technological masters. Pole shifts, earthquakes, natural disasters. Here's my word, and you can take it to the bank that we were way more advanced before Lemuria sang. The star children that you waited for. This is the rise of the golden age, like Thor, symbolic like the signs of the priory of Zion. I am a star child, yeah, straight from Orion.
Look at us, they're going to see us as a little star, out there, and we're star people, according to them. So, as above, so below.
All right, guys, there you go. That was Star Child by Kapwon Artist, and he is with us here tonight on Paradigm Shift Radio. And let's bring him right back on there. And again, he released that track off of his first album, which is the Akashic Records, I believe, and he will confirm the next album that he's got coming out in the near future. So let's bring him back onto the air, Kapwon Artist.
Just to clarify, that's off Akashic Records Volume 2. I've done like 2 volumes of the Akashic Records.
Nice.
But they're both up for download, and you can catch them both on YouTube there. And as you rightly mentioned, I've got an album that I'm working on at the moment, my debut album. It's called the Emerald Tablets EP. And for anyone that doesn't know, the Emerald Tablets is a very ancient scripture, and it's an interesting subject. So I ain't going to go too deep into the meaning of it, but yeah, my album, it features some spiritual, conscious hip-hop artists, whatever you want to call them, from all over the world. I've got collabs from with guys from Greece, from Italy, from America, from UK, all over. So I'm just kind of networking with people, yeah, like-minded people, and just kind of bringing everyone together under the banner of hip-hop. Like, if you love music, then let's build, like.
For sure, man. Yeah, man, building, like, that's what it takes. One brick at a time, one intention at a time. So,
yeah, definitely.
Creating worlds.
With the technology that we've got at our disposal as well, like, we are most definitely living in a very special time. We're privileged to use the technology and have access to information that, for a long, long time, we weren't supposed to access this information, and we weren't supposed to be privileged to the knowledge that we can now readily get at the click of a button. You know, if you've got an internet connection, you can easily access the ancient texts. You can easily access the teachings of the philosophers, and you can even translate them. You know, you can get them translated into your language. So, where before we would have had to go to libraries and to order books and to trade books to get this information, now we've got it at the click of a button, and I think that's very important. As artists, as activists, as spiritual light workers, then we need to use this technology for its full capability and use it to unite and to uplift, as opposed to Farmville and these ridiculous things that you see, like people uploading pictures of their dinner and this is what I had for breakfast. You know what I mean? It baffles me sometimes, but yeah, we should really, really, really use technology for its full capability, in my opinion.
Man, yeah, I agree. Just ragging on the Farmville. Ooh, Farmville getting taken down the peg. Man, I think you hit home there. All right, guys. So, let's bring Vaughn back on, and I'd be curious to hear Vaughn's thoughts on your song. I mean, Vaughn being involved with hip hop in his own way. Like, Vaughn, you're obviously listening to that, and we do apologize for anybody listening to this in the original Blog Talk version, because Blog Talk Radio does not play the best quality. Go back and listen to the show in the YouTube version that will be up tomorrow within 24 hours, and you'll be able to appreciate it more. Just go watch the video yourself on Kapwon's website again, which is kapwonartist.co.uk. So let's bring Vaughn on the show and hear what he thought of that song. Yo, Vaughn.
Hey, it's me, Vaughn. Okay, I
back.
thought the song was amazing. It's really good to hear more artists doing that. And, you know, I really haven't heard a lot of UK artists, and, you know, to hear yours and to be that good, like, now you've set the bar really high. Like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I better just not listen to any other UK artists, right? But when you were talking about earlier, you know, we live in the information age, and there's no excuse for people to be ignorant. You're right. With everyone with the click of a button, like, I saw a picture the other day where, like, someone had, like, these girls taking pictures of themselves, and they're just, like, you know, the epitome. It's like the epitome of stupid when you have, like, at your fingertips, you have an Android phone, you could, like, surf the web and learn all the knowledge. You could read the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, and you could go and learn anything you want, but we're not learning. We're just, you know, wasting our time. And, you know, life is a limited time offer, and, you know, it's running out soon. So what are you going to do while you're experiencing it? That's everything, you know.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, totally. I totally agree, man. I totally agree, and I just feel like you see how people are behaving in that way, and we call it stupidity. It is stupidity, but we have to remember that people are programmed to behave in this way, and they're programmed that way for a very specific reason, because it serves, if you like to call them, the elite's interest. The ignorance serves the elite's interest. So it's big business for people to be dumbed down and to be partaking in this stuff. And obviously, us bringing an alternate theory or an alternate lifestyle, we've got to then compete with this mass program and this mass media deception that we're against. As you were saying earlier, I just want to pick up on one thing that you mentioned earlier about how for the positive force of the universe and of the planet and of the spiritual vibration, there is a negative force, but the negative force, it has to work against the whole force of the universe. So it's like every day these people are getting up and they're trying to conceal their lies, they're trying to hide their lies, they're trying to take more rights away, and every day the universe is waking up more people, another light goes on every single day. So I firmly believe if we can just continue our work and continue, everyone around the world just continue doing what you're doing, because at the moment people are awake, people are waking up fast, and whether it be, I mean, over in UK, it was like the student protests kicked off a huge mass awakening of the younger generation, where they just realized how corrupt and how twisted the system was, and how twisted it was. These people to be charging, I don't know if you guys know in America, but the tuition fees were raised to like £9,000 a year here. So for a 3-year degree course, the students were looking at being in nearly £30,000 worth of debt before they've even finished university. So
yeah,
these things when the elite make these moves and do these things, they kind of, I hate to say it, but they blow up in their face, you know. These moves, they seem to backfire time and time again. The more they try and it's like water and sand just running through their hands, and they're just trying to put it back all the time, and it's useless.
They're attacking the very generation that's going to be running those exact systems. I mean, when you're attacking a generation of people who are going to be running the government inevitably in the coming years, you know, it's gonna fire off right back in your face, because, you know, all they're doing, it's like they're trying to sink a Titanic full of people who just built Titanics. I mean,
exactly. And with the younger generation privileged to the technology and the information that they are now, there isn't a hope for the old ways, because the old way of the world was to keep people ignorant, and as technology increases, the information increases, and as we well know, as information increases, then people's awareness increases, the consciousness raises.
Yeah, and I think that's like just something that for us, we're right in the middle of it, especially us three through the work that we're doing and our involvement with multimedia and using it as like a catalyst, a messenger. So going back to like the sort of themes within your work, like Kapwon, like there's a lot of stuff within that song. I mean, like you're like talking about like third eye, like pineal gland, like kind of like connection to like higher dimensions, stuff like that, and sacred geometry. Tell me a little bit more about where does your inspiration come as an artist, and just like what are some of the themes that you sort of like value as important to work into your music?
Well, inspiration, 100%, I have to give that to the universe, because my inspiration is from the universe and it comes from within, and I'm not the sort of guy that sits around stuck for ideas and stuck for creative, and to be thankful for that when I want to find it, and the inspiration is just from the things that I learn. And the main topic, if I had to file it down and say one main topic, is knowledge of self. From my music is the knowledge of self, because it's not important about my story or who I am. It's more important that the process of how I've learned and how I've got to where I've got to is because I practice knowledge of self. And I'm not saying that people need to follow or even agree with my ideas. I just want people to know that by looking deep within themselves, then you can come to some incredible realizations, because that's where I am, and that's why I made the conclusions that I did, that I wanted to work for the positive good, know what those around me, and for the reason I try a positive, uplifting message in my music. I mean, not every single one of my tracks is happy, not every single one of my tracks is a positive, if you like, track. They're aspects, but reflection on my, you know.
Yeah. Now, I was just going to say, Vaughn, from your end, I mean, I heard you there, Kapwon, but Vaughn, was that coming through a little bit choppy for you, opposed to just me?
Yeah, I was kind of a little choppy.
Yeah,
I was
like that's That's Blog Talk, doing Blog Talk. But I mean, I again, like, that happens on the radio show, but even still, like, we can, like, pick up on, like, the extra psychic transmission that is making its way through the air. So it's for the people who just listen to that, if it happens again, just, you know, again, as a reminder, use this as, like, a chance to train your psychic abilities to, like, hear what he's actually, like, communicating, whether or not the words aren't always there. But
also,
one thing...
Supermoon.
So go ahead, Vaughn, real quick.
Did you guys see the moon, like, outside your window right now?
It is a full moon, man.
Incredible tonight.
Rocking it. I can't
see
it right now.
It's the paradigm shift anniversary, and
it's almost a paradigm shift anniversary. Yeah, 1 year of doing paradigm shift radio. Pretty close. So, but yeah. So, sorry, Vaughn, were you just plugging the moon there? Was that?
Just plugging the moon. I opened a window. And it was like right in my face. I was like, wow.
Yeah. Shout out to the moon. So, like, yeah. Hashtag supermoon. What I was just gonna say, like, in terms with personal awakening and stuff like that, because I know Kapwon, like, you if those of you saw the promo image, you saw that I had, like, a flower of life, like, with the image of you as an artist. That is something that you really identify with. You sort of have adopted it as, like, a logo and everything. And I know for me personally, in my own spiritual awakening, like, sacred geometry is such an essential part, just in terms of being able to understand infinity, like, literally understand infinity. Like, when I understood, like, what we commonly see as the sacred, like, the Star of David that you sort of, like, see, like, on the flag, and just being able to fit that inside of itself, and then to fit it inside of that and inside of that, and, like, infinitely to do so. Like, I was like, once I did that for myself, I was like, wait a second, like, this makes sense. Like, that's how the universe works. And then just seeing more of sacred geometry everywhere throughout nature's. Yeah, I mean, like, just tell us your personal take on sacred geometry and the flower of life.
Well, I haven't adopted it. I've borrowed it. That's what I've done.
Yeah, I think that's a better way of saying it.
So I haven't ready to go adopting it, but basically, it was, if you like, probably a trigger in a big shift in consciousness. I've done a lot of traveling over the last couple of years. I've been very blessed to manage like places, but I was in Germany, and I came across some ancient artifacts. They were some sort of artifacts, and I was there taking photos of these artifacts, and I kind of didn't really think anything of it at the time. And then I carried on my day, went about my business, and finished my journey to Berlin, and I came back to UK kind of unaware of what I'd photoed. And then a lot of things happened, which led me to begin a process of and to just this self-reflection, then the spiritual aspects, if you like, and the spiritual histories, and the histories. Symbology was a big thing. Symbology was a big thing to me, because I was seeing these reoccurring symbols everywhere, as you quite raised what people like to call the Star of David, which is actually an ancient Druidic star, and can be found in ancient Ireland, and can be found in all over different global regions, long before the occupation of Palestine started. So the star is a very, very, very ancient star. It's just like the swastika. These people see these signs and kind of reverse the meaning of them. But basically, I took the photo of the artifact. Think anything of it, and then when I was going through this research of spiritual knowledge, like Power of Life, and I was thinking, I've seen that somewhere before. I went back through my photos of Berlin. Very quickly realized when I'd been in Berlin, I'd photoed the Flower of Life in the ancient Sumerian artifacts, and it was a stone carving of the Flower of Life. At that point, it was a synchronicity that was beyond any explanation, and it was beyond any, when people try and sit and they say, oh, well, that's a nice coincidence. It was beyond coincidence, and it led me then to look deeper into the flower. As I looked deeper into the flower, I realized the importance of it, and I very quickly realized that flower has the power to change everything. That flower alone can change everything, and that isn't a cliche saying, because the knowledge possessed in that flower, and the history of that flower changes to everything that we have ever been told. And the whole matrix and the whole illusion came crashing down. It was all of us. I had concrete evidence myself that the first civilization on this planet, Sumeria, the first civilization with a written language, Sumeria, knew about the flower of life. And they had no one had, if we believe the mainstream history, they had no one before them to teach them that knowledge. Where did they get that knowledge from? And if Sumerians knew about the flower of life, then every single thing we were told in history, and you can rip up every that you've got. Because if the Sumerians knew about the flower of life and the ancient knew about the flower of life, everything we were told about our planet, about our history, about religions, it's all nonsense.
Yeah, man. Like, I mean, I like the idea that when people see the flower of life, there's a part of them, whether or not they consciously like identify and say like, oh, that's the flower of life. If they have never really seen it before, where they see it, but then like in the back of their mind, their consciousness is just like attracted to it, or it just recognizes that there's something really interesting. Yeah, it's like the higher self.
The higher self recognizes the flower. Yeah. The higher self recognizes it. Whether you consciously recognize it in this incarnation, in this lifetime, it's irrelevant, because your soul recognizes that flower, and the soul recognizes that flower because you started out as that flower. I don't know if you've seen the biological structure of a cell once it's impregnated, but the cellular structure forms the flower of life and the seed of life.
Yeah, man, that just like gives me an idea of like a funny scenario, because you have your clothing line that is a lot of sacred geometry and flower life designs, and I think the fact that you wear that during your shows is pretty amazing too, because again, you know, like people there listening to your music with this in front of you, whether or not they know what it is, are still like getting something from it. Like that symbol is giving off an energy. But I was just thinking of like,
they're gonna see it later, and they're gonna be like, they're gonna realize what it was, and be like, I saw that on that artist, Kapwon.
He was talking like awesome stuff. But what I was gonna say, it would just be funny if like I could just imagine the scenario if I see someone else with a flower life shirt who I don't know, and I could just like walk up to them and be like, yo man, like why are you wearing a shirt like of me on it? Like you got like a picture of me on your shirt, man. Be like, what? We talk? Oh yeah, true, man, for sure. And then like, you know, like fist bump or something. That's stupid as that.
It's I've been in that for a good couple of years now, and I've given a lot of people paintings of the flower of life and little drawings and stuff like that, and they've actually then ended up causing coincidences for people, like you just said, where people have come. So how do you know about the flower of life? And then that struck up a huge conversation. Like two people that you just said were like strangers before, all of a sudden they connect on something very, very deep, and through the power of a symbol, without one physical motion, that symbol alone speaks for itself.
Yeah, man. Like we within the Paradigm Shift communities, we've been having our admin meetings, and for anybody who's interested in being an admin for a Paradigm Shift community, anybody can help start up a community where they are, and go to facebook.com/Paradigm Shift Central. But one of the things we were talking about in our last like Google Hangout meeting, where we chat face to face from all over the world, we were talking about like the button idea, and buttons is something that I've been encouraging within the community. But I think kind of after this conversation, I'm just like kind of really crystallizing the idea of like focusing a little bit more on the flower of life symbol, and I agree, like having that on you is like a common flag for people who are like on that spiritual level, and just be like, yeah, you know, because we do have some buttons with the flower life on it, but I think it would just be cool to focus a little bit more on those, because I think out of all the symbols, like you could have a yin yang on you, but I mean to have the flower of life, like there's, you know, I think that is like it's there's like it's ineffable is what I'm trying to say, but it definitely carries a lot to it. So it carries everything to it. It is everything. Infinity 100%, in itself.
Man.
It is 100%.
I see a lot of people getting the tattoos on them now. I work at Whole Foods, so I see a lot of people Flower of Life tattoos. And
that's just, pretty cool.
Since I've been working there, kind of like it uplifted my feeling for the human race, because when I worked at other grocery stores, like all I saw were people who were poisoning themselves, and I never met anyone who I really could like connect with. I'm connecting with like everyone, and I'm just like, you know, I didn't realize this many people were into this stuff, you know. People are waking up way more than I thought they were. It just depends on your perspective and where you're looking, because, and that's another thing. That's why I like the paradigm shift thing, because we're creating gathering points for like-minded people, because there aren't that many of them yet. There aren't many gathering places for people who have like minds to meet up
There's a lot
anymore.
online. There's a lot online, but yeah, physically, physically is the next thing.
Have you guys joined the Earth We Are One page?
Yeah, the Earth We Are One. We can plug that. That's
probably the fastest movement that I've seen going. That's like thousands every couple days.
Yeah. Like, for anybody who hasn't checked that out yet, just search in the Facebook search, Earth We Are One, and there's the page for it, and there's also the group for it. We're kind of talking about the group because the group is like anyone can post there, and it's just like a really active place of people just engaging in conversation. So I mean, the fact that there's all these people interested and it's happening digitally. So what happens after that, obviously, is just like the physical meeting places in your communities, and that's again, like what Paradigm Shift is really focusing on, is building that physical tribe where you are and encouraging people to do it, to set out to start a Paradigm Shift community, and then to like start using synchronicity and being open for it, and wearing shirts with sacred geometry on it, and going out and finding the other people who are out in your community, and starting up conversation with them, and be like, yo, like, now that, because everybody has a phone today, if you meet that person, you are instantly like entwined with their reality, and then you have the potential to create something with it. Like, for me, when I go out on the streets every day, I'm always looking for people like to be able, I'm always open to the idea of running into someone and being able to like talk to them and spend some time with them, and evidently like get them connected with like the community that I know they would appreciate. So you gotta, some people in particular, there may be other people out there who are already wearing a Flower of Life button. So, I mean, just keep an eye open for, like, what people are wearing and what they're sporting, because, like, what we choose to wear as jewelry and everything, like, that's, like, an extension of our soul. So keep an eye open for that. Like, a good thing, an easy thing, as an example, like, I was walking around the mall, and I saw a guy walk towards me, and he was wearing, like, the symbol of the Ankh, like the Ankh, the Egyptian thing that's, like, the cross with the circle at the top. And so I see him, like, out of the corner of my eye, and I just, like, pull out a Paradigm Shift pamphlet with the website on. I'm just like, yo, man, like, I got something special for you. Like, check this out. I think you'll appreciate it. And he's just like, oh, okay, cool, man. I'm just like, yeah, and I just had a small conversation with him. But, like, things like those opportunities are passing us every day, whether you are in Canada, whether you are in the U.S., or whether you are in the UK. Like, they are happening everywhere. It is consciousness itself bringing itself together because it wants this to happen. It is that force. It is the force that is behind spiritual hip-hop, like, as we were talking about. So, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You mean the force behind hip-hop?
Even the force behind hip-hop and Star Wars.
Yeah, most definitely. It's relevant. What you said, Jay, is very relevant, because I remember I made a big transition from, like, I was MCing in raves, and I was in, like, drum and bass raves, and then I decided to make hip-hop and to go back to the music that I was originally. And I made a transition from, like, rave MC, hip-hop MC, and then I made the changes in my life. I remember when I was going through the awakening, and I would come across people in the street wearing something like a necklace or something with a sign on it, which I knew was the universe communicating with me to say, look, this person's on a similar path to you, communicate with them. When I was new to the awakening, when I was new to the transition in myself, I didn't really have confidence to go up in the streets and just talk about this stuff and to say, yo, like, look, are you a part of global awakening? Like, I didn't really have that confidence in the time, because there wasn't people around me either. When I went through my awakening like properly, like, I don't know, like 5 years ago, and there wasn't anyone around me at the time. There wasn't all of this, so I was very alone in my awakening, and it took me a while to get my head around what was going through and to get my head around what was happening to me. And when I did, I began to become more at one with my path, and more at one with my purpose, and more at one with my true self. And then with that, my confidence came, and with that, then the confidence to approach others came. And now, like, if I'm out on the road and, like, I see someone and I know that, like, the universe is, if I go up to them and I'll communicate with them because I know now how to engage people and to communicate with them without them thinking that you're some crazy wacko, you know.
That's right. I mean, I think there is some mindful techniques that we can take into being able to communicate with people off first-hand basis. I mean, even just, you know, reading body language and having themes to talk with that aren't like too far out there. You know, you can't just like run up to someone, shake them by the shoulders, and be like, "The reptilians, man, the reptilians." You know, people are like, "What the fuck, dude?" Like,
if you approach things from that aspect, then people are just gonna off that self-defense mechanism of their brain is just going to kick in, and they be like, I don't want to hear this. You're crazy. Like, I don't want to hear this. I want to go little bubble. So my advice to people like through like a spiritual awakening and that want to communicate with other people is just communicate on a normal, humble level. Like if you come across someone, talk about music, talk about like
what they're passionate about. That's what I always.
Because it will be something that you connect on, and then you can build on the communication, and then you can talk about the deeper aspects of things. But if you think you can just go up to people and start telling them about like the fifth dimension and astral projection and pineal gland activation, they're just going to look at you like, who is this David Icke guy? Do you know what I mean? Because that's how he about it. He went through such an extreme awakening, and then he tried to then commit that before he had like a full understanding of what he's going through. And I think a big part of it is when we're connecting with other people, we need to encourage and we need to boost the confidence. Make it okay to talk about these things, and that's something that I personally have gone out of my way to do, to talk publicly about these things and to wear sacred geometry on my clothing so that it became acceptable for other people around me to do it, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Like we give each other permission through our actions, you know, just sort of by what we do, like other people do.
We shouldn't have to. Don't get me wrong. I don't think that we should have to. But for the sake
it
of
is
humanity,
where we're at.
We need to really reach out to these people that are scared and are disconnected from the higher realms and bring them in on this and say, look, it's okay. There's an alternate to what you're going through. There's an alternate to what you've been told. But we have to do that in a manner that is respectful to the universe as well, because we're doing important work, you know.
Yeah, man, for sure. Like, I think, it's a step-by-step process. Vaughn, did you have something? I could sort of hear you thinking over there.
No, I'm sorry. The moon is just really bright, and it's like creating like this weird reflection pattern on my window where I can see like 4 moons on my window right now, and then like there are like these 2 ducks that just came walking up to my window and are like quacking at me right now.
Oh, okay.
So it's kind of tripping me out. But yeah. I'm still listening. Sorry, guys.
Well, that's good. I think we're really like hitting on some key things here, and I think having something like Paradigm Shift totally just goes with all of what we were talking about here, because even just introducing people to something like Paradigm Shift could be something that may be a little bit more comfortable for other people. They could just, because instead of them being like, hey, you know, like here's what I want to shove in your face, because you know that's obviously not the way you can do it. You can be like, yo, check out this radio station. I think you'd be interested in what they're talking about. And we've had so many episodes up to this point. We will continue to have more episodes, and again, anybody can get involved with them. And like I think even just some of the main themes that just for me personally, I would suggest, you know, if you're looking to be able to talk to someone, again, like a simple thing to approach conversation, and I already said this, but just to reiterate it, find out what someone's passionate about, and then follow that conversation and get them, you know, again, get them comfortable, and then bring the potential direction that you can take something in is, sacred geometry is one topic in itself, and another thing would be like dream. If you talk to them about like dream exploration, just like whether or not they write down their dreams or remember their dreams, because some people it can be hit and miss, but some people, you know, if you mention lucid dreaming, they're like, oh yeah, you know, like I know what you're talking about or something. So that's, again, just my kind of, if you were to consider that like a practical thing to keep in mind when all of us are going out and trying to interact with people, like with the evolution that Paradigm Shift is going towards. I want to be able to encourage people to like take up missions for themselves where they say like each day they're going to try and talk to at least one new person and have like some sort of meaningful conversation that is like moving both people forward in terms of like connecting and shifting consciousness. So I mean, if you can do that once a day or even just like once every couple days, then just check in with yourself. Like, are you trying to do that? Are you making that step to connect with the people? Because again, like, it is there, like wherever you are, there are the other people, and it's always going to be different for each environment. But yeah, that's just a couple of thoughts off the top there. And at this point, I will just say it's been an absolute awesome opportunity having Kapwon on tonight, because I think even just being able to recognize the fact that, like, I'm from Canada, Vaughn's in the USA, and Kapwon's in the UK. Like, you know, like 3 of the biggest countries in the world, like, doing this whole paradigm shifty thing. And we got a nice country, or we got a nice triangle going on between us, is what I'm saying. Like, literally across the earth right now, like us talking, we got a nice triangle formed up between us.
We're Bermuda triangling the world right now.
Yeah, man, it's nice. And a nice synchronicity with the full moon as well.
And the full moon, man. Yeah, totally. Riding on the waves of the full moon. Like, full moon, we were talking about this the other day. Like, full moon's always interesting because there is the idea of, does a full moon increase novelty? You know, some could say that the full moon increases the potential for, like, synchronicity to be more in your face, or, like, more something, right? Like, it's hard to sort of measure it. But what do you guys think about the full moon? Kapwon,
well, the moon most definitely increases activity in many different areas. You know, the moon has a big effect on, obviously, the sea, and how that most of our body is made up of water as well. Then you can affect that the full moon has on the water inside of. What does that affect? And on the tides, then imagine the effect the full moon has on the water inside of your body. It's exactly the same. And if you speak law enforcers, they'll tell you that, like, on the night of a full moon, then they experience more crimes and more madness and more injuries than on any other night of the preceding calendar. Like,
yeah, there's not to interrupt you, going back to a while, because I remember, because we brought this up on episode of Paradigm Radio, back slightly before, it was the last full moon before December 21st. I almost forgot the difference. Like, what date we're freaking out about? But a bit before December 21st, the last full moon before that, there was, like, this report that was sort of across the internet that in New York City, I guess it was, there was no, like, violent crimes reported that day. And that was on a full moon. So, what? No, that's, like, the exact opposite of what's supposed to happen. And then, like, I was sort of, you know, boosting it on Paradigm Shift Radio. It's like, oh, you know, like, it's a good omen or something. But yeah, that was just interesting flashback. But yeah, definitely, like, full moon is something that we can utilize for creativity. I mean, I know for me personally, like, I got no problem staying up all night tonight and just, like, busting stuff out. And, like, you know, for a guy like you, Kapwon, that would be time, like, spending time, like, writing lyrics and stuff like that. And yeah, that was something we were talking about earlier. Like, maybe for the people out there, can you give us some personal, like, tips and tricks in terms of those people who might be interested in, like, starting to get into lyricism, so to speak, and what, you know, hip hop sort of does in terms of working with words and casting spells?
Yeah, sure. Well, I'm no academic on the subject. You know, I just write rhymes that come from the heart.
Yeah, there's no rules, right?
Yes, that's where it came from. I never sat down with any other artist and they said, this is how you write, this is what you do. Originally, I was just writing poetry. Like, when I was younger, I used to write poetry, and then that kind of developed into spoken word. And I remember doing some basic spoken word.
Just checking. Kapwon, you still there? Yeah, that was like an extra long lag on that one. You have been coming through a bit choppy, but again, we've just been keeping in mind, like, when it, you know, we're trying to, we're boosting our psychic abilities here in the process. But yeah, hold on, Kapwon, I'm just gonna mute you and then unmute you real quick, because it's not you, it's Blog Talk. So, okay, check in again. Let's try saying something. Go ahead, say something. Hello, yo, Kapwon, can you? Yeah,
can you hear me?
Right now it's okay. That was perfect. So, just
all right.
It does this. But yeah, sorry. Continue what you were saying there, just in terms of, like, writing lyrics and poetry, even, because I mean that's something that a lot of people know. Like, I write my own poetry, and to be honest, just to sort of, like, pass the ball back to you here. Like, I've had in the back of my mind, and I've mentioned this to Vaughn, like I've always had the idea of being able to get like more lyrical with my poetry, and I love the idea of putting like a music behind what I would create, and I think that's still like in the future for me. So, I mean, yeah, like I'd love to create some hip hop tracks. Stay tuned for that.
Yeah, well, poetry is a good place to start, you know, because there's no rules and there's no barriers. Whereas if you're rhyming over a beat, then you've got to hit that snare and you've got to hit the certain aspects of the tune, which is what a lot of artists struggle with. Like a lot of up and coming artists, they struggle with catching the beat and actually finding that structure. So if you're starting out rhyming, then start writing poetry, man. Don't bother writing to a beat. Just write a cappella. Write what comes. That's the biggest thing that I could suggest. Like, look deep within yourself, at your deepest fears, your deepest emotions, what the been happiest, and capture that emotion, and get it down. I tell people how you felt, how it made you feel, and what you in that experience. And that's where I started with my rhyming. Just talking about what I was learning, what I was experiencing, and it was a bit of a social commentary. That's where it all started, and then it grew from that. And as I started to pursue more research and look into deeper aspects of life, obviously that entered my music. But I didn't start out thinking, I'm going to rap about a certain subject, or I'm going to rap about a certain subject. I was writing from the heart. That's all I can suggest. Just follow your heart.
For sure, man. For sure. Yeah, like follow what inspires you. Follow what you're passionate about is something that I commonly remind myself of. Okay, guys, like I sort of got a really interesting idea just to toss up here, because I was thinking, I was just having my notebook in front of me, and there's a recent poem like that I wrote in here just from last week, and what do you guys think about the idea of all three of us just sort of like taking a little bit of time here to share something of our own, whether it be like lyrics from a song or even just like a poem that you got off to the side or in your head? Would you guys want to do that? Can you guys like pick something in the top of your head to share like on the radio here, just because I think it's important for people to hear stuff like that, because it inspires them, like aspire to inspire. Like it just I would love to hear what you guys have.
Yeah.
Vaughn's in.
You guys
Kapwon?
can take the lead on that one. I'll pass.
You'll pass? All right. Well, we've already had your track like playing out earlier in the show.
That's it. I don't want to be greedy, That's what I'm saying. I want to open it up for you guys. I don't want to be greedy, man.
All right, I can respect that. So, I mean, yeah, you've got excellent stuff that we can listen to outside of the show. And Vaughn, you got something off the top of your head? Because how about you go first?
You want me to go first?
Yeah, sure.
All right. I'll just acapella this verse I created last night, and I will say I had you in mind during writing this. So.
Are you talking to me?
Yeah, I'm talking to you, Skull Babylon.
You wrote a song about me?
No, but like some of the stuff you linked me to.
What? Sorry, what's that, Kapwon? What'd you say?
Should this be going out?
Hopefully it's not too personal. Vaughn, go ahead.
This is radio love. No, this has nothing to do with you, Skull. I was just saying that to be nice.
Oh, okay.
But
okay, go ahead.
Here we go. Are you ready? All right.
We're ready.
Here we go again on the journey worthy mankind. As I get higherization, we gon' fly the nations that live in the sky. Meet the wing makers and touch the eyes that sought to evolve. Gene solved. Could the revolver roulette to solve us? Gene spliced for progress. I seeded the race. We came from spaceships. Fuck the matrix. I stand with ancients. And this placement of our star system is no fallacy. The planets moving according to your perceived reality. Quantum functions that project the galaxy coincide with Einstein's last theories. I hear thee. Clearly, you want to say something, but the real question is, have you heard nothing? We are all one, but you cut yourself off, and now you want sympathy for what? You just lost. And I know you want to say the same about me, but in the same breath, I want to remind you to breathe and welcome thee to the neon generation as prospects we profess in the Zulu nation. Yeah.
Yeah. Damn, that was legit. Shout out to the wing makers. We still got to do an episode on them.
We do have to do one on them.
That'll be fun. Me and you will do that one, Vaughn. So, all right, Vaughn, that was sick. So that was Vaughn Halford of GenerationNeon.com. Is it .com?
.com, yes.
.com. GenerationNeon.com. Check it out. Sweet. All right, so I'll share what I was going to share here, and some people may have already heard this, those of you who've been following my YouTube at youtube.com/skullbabylon, because I put up a video of me writing this in a street festival that we had last weekend, and yeah, this is some poetry that I wrote, like, on the spot. Like, the girl who is, like, they had a microphone set up, and there was other people reading poetry, and she saw me sitting down, she's like, hey, are you writing a poem? And I'm like, I am now, and then 10 minutes later, I like had this one busted out. So, yeah, this is like more just like a poem, but I mean, I'll just sort of read it the way I normally would. And another thing, just wanted to plug real quick in terms of the paradigm shift communities. Reminder for anybody who is in the UK, like there are, I think, literally 2 paradigm shift communities in the UK, and you can check those out at paradigmshiftcentral.com/directory, and one may be closer to London and one's in Liverpool. So yeah, we could always get some more communities started up there and just allow things to continue to grow. So this is my method of taking paradigm shifty stuff to the streets of where I live, which is my point, because I encourage you to do the same. So take it outside of your house and bring it into the streets. All right, this one's called Infinite Smiles. Empty streets full of people, full of smiles, smiles that seldom see the days between Sunday and Friday, smiles reserved, kept on a shelf, tucked away for exceptional moments like birthdays, Christmas, and birth. But why are we so hesitant to share something we have an infinite supply of? Smiles do not cost us a dime, but rather only a breath that bonds us to that moment that we share with that girl across the room, or that bus driver who we legitimately thank for orchestrating a 2-ton metal box across town so that we can get to where we need to be. A smile in itself holds a secret about the universe, the truth that the more we share, the more we receive. A smile in itself holds the power to transform any moment, how we, the observer, choose to experience it. Following this expression of thought and perspective, I ask you to try it for yourself and join me in creating a new vibration that ripples through this holographic matrix of light. With no need for an excuse, lift your cheeks up to the sky because your smile is directly connected to your heart. And one apple a day might keep a dentist at bay, but a smile in any moment brings you into the present state of joy and bliss, which in itself is an investment towards your greater well-being. So do the world a favor and bring more love into it. Smile with me. We are creating a brighter future, one smile at a time. There we go.
Yeah, take him to church on that one.
Took him to church. What?
Yeah, man.
That's a weird thing to say. Anyways. Thanks, guys. Thanks for listening, Vaughn and Kapwon and all the Paradigm Shift listeners out there as well.
Yeah, big up, man.
For sure, man. So that's what we need to do, guys. We need to create art. We need to create consciousness shifting art, among other things. You know, that's just like one route that many of us are taking, and as a nation, you know, like as like this, like under the flag of the flower of life. I mean, if you almost want to think about it that way, like that is what we are doing. We are ambassadors for consciousness itself to just inspire other people.
Yeah, that sounds good to me, man.
Yeah, man, because like I was thinking, because that's the thing that got me like serious about this whole waking up thing. Because I was like, I recognized that there was actually a real objective behind this. It wasn't just like, well, you know, like maybe I could like get a job after college, but that's kind of up in the air or something. But just to, you know, just in terms of how people think of their future. But like with the paradigm shift stuff, I'm like, there is a very real reality that is being created when you go out of your way to help other people awaken within their space, to be able to like awaken up to more of who they are and more of the reality. And in the process of doing, you're helping everything. Like it's not just you are helping yourself. Again, going back to what I just said in my poem, like the more we share, the more we receive. So I mean, it is literally an objective that I'm committed to, like I know Vaughn's committed to, I know Kapwon's committed to, and I know all of us are committed to, and just being able to really bring that into what it is that we do in a day-to-day basis and what we create within this reality. So big ups to everyone who's doing their thing out there. So that's to you, the listener. So thank you.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's an important point to stress as well. Yeah, times it's like people seem to look for like leaders and for like people that are gonna show the way. I think with the conscious awakening and with the future that we're building, we don't need leaders and we don't need models and we don't need any more icons. What we need is people to people say, do you know what? Yeah, I'm not the answer. I'm not the savior. You are, and it's to encourage every one of your listeners. Like every one of your listeners, you are the answer, and you are You are the person that can change the world if you want to. The choice is yours. And for people that don't know, like, the seriousness of what I say, I know it sounds nice and I know it sounds kind of hippy-dippy, but physics show that, like, we are part of a conscious collective. We're part of one big mind. We are part of one big mind, if you like, and we're all different observers of this mind. And you are responsible for your own reality, and no one else can change your reality. Only you can change your immediate reality. And if you choose to then take that reality from the television or from your teachers or from your parents or from your religion, then that's up to you, but you can create your own reality. And I think that that's a key thing that we need to stress to people, that we're not asking anyone to follow our ideas, we're not asking anyone to follow the paths that we're leading. We're saying create your own, take the power, because you are the power, and by changing yourself, you will ultimately change the world, because we are the microcosm. And I've seen it personally in my life, that when I took responsibility for my thoughts, for my actions, then things around me very, very changed. And because my life, my circumstances changed, those close to me and those around me were like, well, what's changed in life? And when I said, well, I've took responsibility for my thoughts and for my actions, and now I'm working for the betterment of everyone as opposed to myself, other people started seeing that it was a good idea. Yeah, man.
Like, all it takes is that first breath. Like, just bring it back to that. So,
really, man, and it's that one step. When you realize that you are powerful and that you are the opposite to everything that you've been told, that you're not nothing, that you're hopeless, that you're not these things that we're told every day in society. I think that minute when that light sparks, then the revolution starts. You know.
Yeah. For sure, man. Like, I think what is just really in theme with this, I've sort of been like holding on to this to sort of like share on Paradigm Shift Radio, but I think this is a nice sort of segue into it. A lot of people, as what I do, like I have the name Skull Babylon attached to it, and a lot of people always ask me questions. There's like, what does that mean? Like, where's that like coming from? And the original idea behind it, I mean, it sort of synchronistically just came to me, and I've sort of told that story before, but basically, like, one of the whole purpose of it is that I want people to be able to see it in their own way, is to be able to like act as a reflective lens, and what does Skull Babylon mean to you? But one way that I can crystallize it down to and boil it down to, and this is something that I honestly didn't say to myself until just a few months ago, but like Skull Babylon, like the name that I carry, like it's not just my name. Skull Babylon means rebirth from within. Like Skull Babylon is an event. Yeah. Like Skull Babylon is an event. It is an event that all of us are partaking in. It is this rebirth of Babylon from within, in terms of like what we bring into our communities, what we bring into our cultures. Babylon is a geographical location of where we are. It is the energy, the system that we were talking about earlier that has been repressing spiritual hip hop as an example. So to be able to change what Babylon is, like we have to rebirth it. And that rebirth from within also refers to like us as a student changing who we are from within. And obviously like skull like refers to like crown chakra, higher conscious attachment, like the mind, the brain, the observer connection. And like Babylon itself can sort of be thought of in a lot of ways, like obviously going back to like Sumeria and stuff, but it's also this idea of this holder of sacred knowledge, and also like the idea of Stargate. If you look at Babylon, one translation for it refers to Stargate. So it's this Stargate into the future. So I mean, I know it sounds like really cryptic, but at the same time, it also sounds really epic, and I know it sounds like epic, and that's why I want people to like just be really excited about it in the same way that I'm excited about it. Because like I said, like this is what we are doing. This is the rebirth from within that is happening within all of us. So yeah, did I take him to church on that one?
What you're about is the age-old alchemical process that the alchemists practice, and that's what exactly. This is what we're talking about. We've entered an age of modern alchemy, like the rebirth of alchemy, and we're rediscovering these things the ancients knew and our ancestors knew and practiced. And lo and behold, when we practice them, what happens? Amazing things.
Yeah. I just want to check in with Vaughn. Vaughn, you feeling about all this, man?
I'm doing all right. I was just setting up a new blog talk radio show. I decided to make my own called Paradigm Shift Cipher, where I'm going to do it once a week. Where Paradigm Shift Cipher, where I can bring on all these hip hop artists and spoken word and poets that can come on and speak their
that's
stuff.
nice, man. That's a nice idea.
Cool, man. I like that. Yeah, like just getting more specific of all the stuff that we have to offer. Like our other buddy Roscoe, I'll just plug his stuff. He does a show on Sundays at 11 p.m. EST, and it's called Roscoe Wisdom. And last show, he just sort of does like a half-hour thing, and his last show was the topic was what is love. So you can imagine like the conversation that comes up within a 30-minute period. So I mean, yeah, like anybody who's doing their own stuff, whether it be Roscoe, whether it be Von Halford, like Vaughn, let us know when you get that going, because we can definitely plug that through like what Paradigm Shift Central and Paradigm Shift Radio is about. So yeah, maybe Kapwon, maybe you could get a Blog Talk Radio happening where you are or something. That'd be sick. You already made an account today.
I'm sure I could probably could delegate that to someone, and we could get something running, definitely.
Something, yeah. That seed is planted, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Cool, but I just want to pick up on what you said there, because we can't raise that subject and then just leave it lie like that. When you said
go for it,
it's important that we talk about the subject of love and the idea of what is love and unconditional, because there's so much stigma attached to this word, there's so much kind of disinformation attached to this word love, that when a male expresses that word, then they're seen as weak, or it's seen as a sign of weakness to express love. And a lot of because see this misunderstanding of what it is, and that word, thanks to the media and all of this nonsense, it's just been completely lost. And I think it's important to raise the subject of the different vibrations of love and fear, how for so long this planet has been trapped in a vibration of fear, that the powers that be know that by keeping us in fear, then we're easily bossed around, and we're easily conformed, and we easily do these. But fear is a different vibration to love, the absolute opposite vibration to love. And when people to resonate on love, then that's when you see these global movements, you see movements, you start these mass. That's out of love, that's out for humanity, and that's out of love for the planet. And if we can get past the idea of it being uncool to express love, or like this hippie idea of love, I think that we can really, really, really progress, because unconditional love is the only truth. The unconditional love is the only truth, and if we can really begin to resonate that, and we to everyone in our circles, then things will rapidly change, because that is the way forward. That is the way forward. And if we can resonate love, and we change the vibration of this planet to love, there's no need for this old world, and there won't be this just that we see now, that we call the system and the Illuminati and things. These people see the future that they're necessary, and that we don't need a future with greed. We don't need a future with wars. We don't need a future with money. We don't need money. Money is a very brief in humanity's history, and we survived without money. Without money again, and I do believe that we could have a planet. We could come together with these things.
Oh man, I wish you weren't cutting out.
Yeah, like it's. I mean, we are hearing you. Don't get us wrong. That last part just.
Yeah, it's cutting out loads. Well, like it's cutting out my end as well.
It's the Illuminati.
Yeah. It's the Illuminati. It's the Illuminati.
Do you notice how? Whenever anyone as well, in history, whenever anyone starts to talk about unification and bringing everyone to the love, as opposed to hatred, as opposed to violence, what happens to the people that speak that message? Then they get silenced, and they get silenced for a very good reason, because what would happen if people did unite through love of each other and through love of this planet? Then the whole illusion would fall apart. house comes up.
Yeah. Vaughn, you got something?
No, I was just thinking about John Lennon, Martin Luther King, and Malcolm X. That's all.
Exactly. Well,
Yeah, man.
People, Che Guevara, he said a true revolutionary is motivated by love. A true revolutionary is motivated by love, not by hate, not by anger, not by greed, not by wanting to settle a score, not by wanting to get justice, by love. And love will overcome all. It always does, and it always has done, and the universe will win in the end.
Yeah, and that's why we need to start growing our own food. Just to like reiterate what our buddy Rain, who's been on Passive, so it's like he'll say something like that if he was here. He'd be like, the revolution starts in the garden. I mean, you know, like that's just like one place I can start. But that is a revolution, is my point, right? Like people think the word revolution means like going around and just like marching in the streets. Like no. Like that's potentially could be part of it. But I mean, go ahead. Yeah.
Those things don't achieve anything. I think to be very careful that.
Yeah, and we're seeing that. We're seeing that more today.
These politicians and stuff. There is no need for any of that. Not one gun needs to be exercised. Consciousness and reality right now. It's unnecessary. And I came to a big conclusion when I was doing a lot of protests. Yeah, I had a big realization one day. I was at a protest outside, empty, and I was pissed off. And people were pissed off there, yeah, and everyone was shouting, and everyone was really angry, yeah. And all of a sudden, I just had this huge realization. I was like, so we're angry at this specific individual. We come here and we give them all of our energy. Like, it didn't make sense to me. I just had a huge, like, it was a big contrast, like, it was a big conflict in my mind of why am I here giving my energy to the very thing that I'm opposing, you know? And for that reason, I very quickly realized that this is exactly what they want. They want us to be angry. They want us to be running around, things up, and then they can arrest us and they can call us all hooligans and call us all vandals. They don't want people to be peaceful, and they don't want people to be calm and to be passionate and to behave calmly. They don't want that. They want the madness, and a lot of people fall into that trap. And you see, I've seen a lot of UK protesters, what we call agent provocateurs, you know, these people that shop the protest. And a big thing with the Occupy movement, these people there that were just there to cause problems and there to and encourage others to then behave in a negative, aggressive. And again, what does that achieve? Nothing ever gets achieved by hate or by anger. Nothing. Problems have ever been solved by that.
Yeah. Like
and Martin Luther King were on to something.
Hey, I don't know, guys. Like all this oneness and love stuff, like all this sacred geometry stuff. I think it's just conspiracy. Like it being infinitely connected, man. It's just conspiracy, man. Yeah, we're not. It's like higher dimensions. It's conspiracy. Yeah.
We need more firebombs. That's what we need. We need to throw firebombs at the government. That's the way.
And
Vaughn, careful what you say there, man.
Exactly. I'm just kidding. That's not even serious at all.
I know, but for the NSA agents listening to this right now, they have to tag stuff like that. So.
Yeah, I know.
Shout out to the NSA agents who are listening to the show. We like you guys.
Hey, Google.
So. Go ahead, Kapwon. So your bus breaking up there. Say again.
I said, should we read out the whole list? The keywords.
Oh yeah, there is a list.
You just red flagged the entire list of red flags. wait, hold on. Bush, Obama. What else did we miss?
Maybe that's
CIA.
Use that for a track. Huh? Let's make a new track called NSA, and then we'll have
the most monitored song on the internet, just based on like hit words. Like that'd be
so many hits viral on YouTube.
That'd be funny.
And it would all be from the government.
It would all be from the government.
Dude, I think we're on to something. That's hilarious.
You might have like NSA agents like, hey, I really like this jam. This is kind of good. This has
man.
nothing to do with the NSA.
And then it gets them to like see where we're coming from too, and it helps like transmutate some stuff. There's some real magic there, man.
Yeah, this is a big thing that we it's fun and it's games, but we have to remember that the people that commit things in that system, and they are human beings, and they are human beings to keep the machine running and keep the system running. And as opposed to trying to do that machine or bring it down, why not just educate those people and educate those people to how corrupt the system is and how corrupt and how they play. And the people that play the part in the system, they're ignorant to their role in it. And I was once told by someone, you'll find allies in strangers, you know, and you will, because you'd be surprised how many people there are, that work within these sectors of government, of like different areas, and they don't agree with some of the things that the higher people are doing. And
the higher people aren't even from our...
And not to be told, look, it's your responsibility to speak, your responsibility to, like, let's just drop the bomb, documents.
Say that, Kapwon. Say that again. What was that bomb? We got glitched out there.
Oh, did you get a glitch? Yeah.
Some guy's like sitting behind the glitch machine. He's just like toggling the slider back and forth. He's like, "Hello, you want to hear it? Nope, not today." Like, it's a job.
So what was it? They glitched up.
Dropping the bomb. You were just about to say like something about a bomb, which might have been...
the Bradley Manning one.
Yeah, that's blowing up right now. Yeah.
Yeah, most definitely.
I posted about that today. I don't know if you saw it, Skull.
I did.
Because I was like, Edward Snowden is one of us, and so is Bradley Manning. You know, they're young, technically minded people from the generation that Barack Obama betrayed. They're the generation that grew up on the internet and were shaped by it. And so, like, the U.S. government is always they're always going to need intelligent analysts and system administrators, and they're going to have to hire them from this generation, the ones that follow it. One day they're going to run the CIA and the FBI, and, you know, they've just screwed themselves by attacking the very people that they plan to hire.
Man, and by demonizing our generation, which happened in the UK a lot, like our generation has been labeled as hooligans and vandals and the thugs. What you said about your own future, you know?
Yeah.
And
like I think. Go ahead.
We're very quick to judge our generation. Are very quick to forget who raised them. You know, it's all very good you pointing the fingers up. You us hooligans, but who raised us? You know, who raised us? The parents have failed, and the parents have failed because they bought the life from the system, the life from history, and they bought the life from their grandparents. But I don't get them, and that's something that we have to be clear on as well. Yeah, I used to be mad vexed at the older generation. I was like, how do you lot let things get this bad? What the fuck?
Really?
Like, did you not
pay attention?
Think at one point, like, there was something wrong here? Did no one think, well, hang on a minute, let's not give all the bankers the money? Like, it was incredible for me. I was very resentful to the older generation standing up and for not making the changes and for not going mad. And really, I realized quickly they weren't privileged to the information. We have access now. Grandmas couldn't internet every day because the information came strictly from one source, which was the system and the elite, and they didn't have the access to go and compare it to any other source. So we're
Kapwon, you still there? Yeah. Hitting like those like dead zones there. Go ahead. Try say something.
Yeah, I'm just. Can you hear me?
We can right now. Yeah.
All right, cool. I'm just saying that our generation needs to make sure that we don't make the same mistakes that the previous generation made, and we need to utilize everything at our capability, not only to awaken ourselves and to empower ourselves to our true purpose, but to encourage the next generation. Even more important, we won't necessarily see the huge changes that the next generation will, you know.
Yeah, man, we're in some prime time right now. Like I was kind of saying, like everyone's got their role to play, but I definitely feel those kind of born around like 1985 till like 1990-ish, like I sort of think of us as like the Super Nintendo generation, just as like a reference point. But I mean, definitely, you know, like, and that's
a good way to call
like,
it Indigo Children, something else.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna. Yeah, so instead of Indigo, it's Super Nintendo. But, you know, again, like, that's who, like, Edward Snowden, like, I mean, what year was he born in? Like, he can't be, like, any older than, like, 30-something or whatever, right? Like, he's a pretty young guy. So, I mean, it makes sense that it happened the way it did. Just as something, I'll just mention this, and it's totally just, like, I guess a thought. Like, it's not even something that I'm just, like, attaching my name to. But I was just, like, thinking in terms of, like, bigger Illuminati plot. I'm like, you know, like, maybe Edward Snowden's a CIA plot. Like, and like, this is just them giving an excuse to, like, crack down in some other way. Like, I'm not saying I actually believe that, but, I mean, who knows, man? Like, I don't know. Like, not to get into a huge thing about that.
They're really good with those plots.
Keep an open mind.
Again, like,
keep an open mind is my point, right? Yeah, keep an open mind is all I'm saying.
I want to bring up the point that, like, you know, like, a lot of people don't even think that you know, the whole bloodline thing with the 13 bloodlines that are running all the big corporations and the government, like, it's almost like they're all in the same, like, special, like, they're from, like, some people think they're from a different planet, you know, as crazy as it sounds, but I mean, like, you know, we got to go back to how did humans even get here? So, you know, you go back far enough, and then, like, you start seeing that these certain families are keeping within their bloodline, and they're running the whole country, and they're all parts of these weird cults, like the Skull and Crossbones and all that kind of stuff. Like, what the hell? The people running our country are in the craziest cults ever, and so are all the people in Hollywood. And it's just like, you know, like the Illuminati and stuff, that might not be what they're called, but, like, they've definitely got, like, this weird, like, little cult that they're all banding together, and their target is us. You know, like, when they talk about the poor people and stuff, they're talking about us. You know, and it's like the only people they care about preserving is their own. And when it comes to us, we're just disposable. And they're starting to do all these genetically modified foods and stuff. Like, that's our population control. Like, you know, like the rats that were fed the GMO corn, the third generation was sterile, infertile. They couldn't have any children. So does that mean that, like, our kids or our grandkids are all going to be infertile as well? You know, it's like we don't even know because they haven't even done the research because
generation doesn't go that far. Yeah.
It's just, you know, it sounds like paranoid, but, you know, it's kind of the way it's going, and, like, a lot of people are talking about how there's not enough resources on the planet, and I think it's a bunch of bull, but I don't know. And I don't really know what we're going to do, but I don't think that, like, killing us off or keeping us from having children is the answer to that.
Go ahead, Kapwon.
Yeah, I to a certain extent, man. To a certain extent, I just don't delve into that area of research too much more because I spend a long time looking into it and I reach my own conclusions on it and I know what I know about it. And with those people there, as we came to the point that we raised earlier, without the dark and pretty a lot of experience dark, like, so you can't have the dark, and as much as they do their wickedness, it helps us because it empowers it. Every time that they crack down, then more people, when they try and pull off another killer stunt, then more people.
Yeah, like through figuring out, like, all this stuff that's, like, being sort of decided for us, it helps us figure out more what it is that we actually want to choose for ourselves, you know, whether you're talking about food or just, like, other liberties and stuff. One thing I was going to bring up, guys, just because when we were talking about, like, revolutions out in the street and everything like that, like, there's a lot of stuff happening in Brazil right now, and I don't know if you guys saw this, but I mean, just in terms of, like, paradigm shifty stuff, like, I'm sure some of you guys must have seen it, that video of the UFO, like, going over top of the protest. Like, that was just something that I just thought that was really cool, man, because that totally, like, I had that idea from, like, way back in the day, so it was really cool to see that, like, actually happen in real life, just how it did. That was cool. I don't know if you guys got any thoughts on that.
Video of that.
Yeah. I mean, you know, it's just like whoever it is up there in the sky, just, like, checking in, you know, probably showing their support or whatever. Who knows, right?
That's it, man. It's a theory. It's a possibility.
Oh yeah.
There's many theories, subjects.
Yeah. Well, probably just save the UFO conversation for a whole another episode of its own on Paradigm Shift Radio. I mean, we've talked about UFOs plenty of times, but yeah, for anybody interested in that, that's what we talk about on Paradigm Shift Radio.
Did you see the UFO over Brazil?
Did you not see that, Vaughn?
Did you see the UFO over Brazil?
That's what we were just talking about.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about, man.
Sorry, I was typing in the Paradigm Shift chat room.
Yeah, that's exactly what Vaughn, do you have, just before we move on from that, do you have...
I thought when I first saw it, I thought, Project Bluebeam, and I'm just thinking, what if during these protests and stuff, they start messing with the crowd, because, if they were going to ever do something like Project Bluebeam, where they projected images in the sky, it would be when everyone is out in the street, so they can see.
Yeah, 100%, man.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, Project Bluebeam, the idea that you can, in the same way you can create images on TV, you can create images up in the sky, holographically sort of thing. But, yeah, there's no reason to think that... I was just going to say, there's no reason to think that, Project Bluebeam can't project something that's incredibly simple, such as a single dot that we recognize as something mysterious, right? The whole idea that we don't get a straight answer out of it is part of what is, extra alluring about it. But, sorry, Kapwon, you're
I was just going to say, I don't know whether you guys seen the Tupac hologram when they did that.
Yeah.
That was Project Bluebeam.
That was Project Bluebeam's test run.
Put Tupac up in the sky, man.
Exactly. They like toys every now and then.
Yeah.
They like to show off their toys.
For sure. Testing them out, man. We don't know. But yeah, someday. That'd be cool if there was in the same way there was an Edward Snowden for what he was doing, if there was just someone who just kind of did something similar for Project Bluebeam and just made this big media release, and they're yep, here's the information about it, and it's real, or just getting an official statement on chemtrails or just something of that nature. I mean, if it happened for this specific NSA stuff, I mean, maybe I don't know, I'm just hypothesizing is all I'm saying, but yeah, just in the process of getting people to be more aware, getting the, think if you were consciousness, how would you wake yourself up?
In every possible way. I'd manifest in every possible way, yeah.
That is
just like it does.
Just like it does, yeah, for sure, man. So I'll just say, guys, real quick, for anybody who is listening to this show live, or for anybody in the future who really gets what we're talking about here and wants to have more of the conversation, we do usually do the Paradigm Shift after parties after each episode, and I think we'll be doing one after this episode. I was just going to say, Vaughn, is that something that you can host? Can you host that?
I cannot do it. I gotta go to work in a couple hours.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I'll have to set it up, but I have to it's weird. YouTube changed its settings, and I have to change something, and it might mess it up. But I'll do what I gotta do. But yeah, guys, stick around for that. That's a Google Hangout that anybody can get in on, whether you're in any continent of the world, wherever you are, and we continue the conversation there. So if you want to talk more about UFOs or anything really, that is one of the places where we do it, and we just practice having conversation, because that's what Paradigm Shift Radio is about, and that's what ParadigmShiftCentral.com encourages. So with about 15 minutes left in the show, guys, I'll sort of put it up in the air. Kapwon, you've I think the energy of the show has kept us all pretty engaged, and I mean, even though it's 1 or 2:45 in the morning right now, how you feeling over there, man? To Kapwon.
Yeah, I'm nice, man. I'm nice. I'm a nocturnal guy anyway, man. So yeah, it's not a big thing to be up late.
Yeah. For sure, yeah. Cool. Well, where would you guys like to be able to take this show within the last 15 minutes? Because, I mean, we do have the option of talking to people in the live chat and getting some questions from them. I would love to be able to hear more from Kapwon as a guest.
Yeah, open it up to them.
Yeah.
Up to them and say, if you've got any questions, then we'll answer them.
Yeah, so there you go, guys. Just repeating what Kapwon said. Anybody in the live chat, if you have any questions, feel free to forward them. And also, in terms of Paradigm Shift Radio stuff, just as we're trying to get some questions coming in here, if you have any future guests to suggest to be on the show, or maybe you yourself would be interested in being on the show to promote whatever it is that you're doing, then message us at facebook.com/Paradigm Shift Radio, and we would always love to be able to do that. And I mean, there's a lot of people who we would love to be able to get in touch with. Kind of when we were going back to the Bradley Manning stuff. I mean, just in terms of recent things happening on the internet or whatever, and in terms of consciousness doing whatever it can to wake itself up. I just want to give like a shout out to like Russell Brand, because he's becoming more popular. And
Yeah.
He's there, man. Like he sees it. Like he sees the flower of life, you know. So I mean, he's doing it in his own way, which I think is really cool. So Russell Brand would be an awesome person to hook up with in the future in some way or another. Just putting that intention out there to the universe. But yeah, do you guys got like Kapwon? I mean, like he's UK, like you're UK. What do you think of him?
Yeah, like, do you know what? Up until about a year or two ago, I didn't even know who the guy was. Like, I don't follow his work or nothing. And when I first seen him, he was just doing like the comedy routines, and he was just a bit of a joker. And I didn't really think anything of it. And then it was a couple of weeks ago, someone sent me a video of him on one American news TV program, where these like the news anchors, they were just talking rubbish and like trying to judge him on how he was looking. And this guy, this horrible universal energy at these people, yeah, and the way that he articulated himself, and the way that, yeah, he made a few sexual jokes, yeah, and I know a couple of people that said like they don't rate him for that, yeah, and I most definitely don't of like putting women down, but she was the woman being rude to him, yeah, she did kind of ask for it, and he shut the whole show down with literally like a 5-6 minute rant, yeah, about consciousness, about the universe, about not judging people, and these news anchors were just left literally gobsmacked. And when I watched, I was like, wow, like I wasn't the dude's biggest fan, and like I said, I don't approve of some of the things he said. Yeah, big up to the guy, man. Enough respect, because he's talking the truth and he's talking from the heart, and I find it interesting that yet again he's one of these figures that they kind of got on board and promoted as this wacky, weird guy. It's a real topic, and I think that's a problem, because he's got a big following. He's got an awful lot of people listen to him, and yeah, he's talking some real stuff. So big up to him, man.
Yeah, for sure. And I've tweeted, like, that's the thing that's great, going back to the idea of like technology in this day and age. I mean, a guy like that, he does have Twitter. So I mean, I've tweeted him stuff, and I'll tweet him like this episode, just with the possibility of it may reach him. But I mean, if anybody who happens to maybe have a step closer in terms of connecting to Russell Brand, feel free to just sort of like forward him this episode. I mean, he's a busy guy, but I mean, regardless, just shout out to him as like recognizing consciousness for doing what it can. And again, just another example of all the unique ways that we are continuing to wake ourselves up. I mean, that is like a whole episode in itself, to just sort of like create a list of all the ways that consciousness is like waking itself up. Just, you know, there's a whole slew.
And one big thing that I've noticed lately is that consciousness and the universe seems to choose the most unlikely vessels to come through. It seems to choose the most unlikely vehicles for the message to come through, so that it hits home twice as hard when it comes through that message. So, for example, Mr. Brand here has been saying, yeah, he's the last person that you would expect to start talking about consciousness and about the universal truth and unconditional love, because he was portrayed as this wacky weirdo sex maniac, and all of a sudden he's talking some real stuff.
Yeah, for sure, man.
So yeah, I find it interesting that consciousness in those non-stereotypical vessels, you know.
Totally. Yeah, you definitely. I kind of quote that. I think I made it up, but one thing I have said in the past is the idea that in order to make a difference, you have to be the difference. So, you know,
yeah,
sort of like think about what that means to you, kind of thing. Because sometimes it takes that. It takes something different to get people's attention in the first place. Because like we said, like the people who are out there, who are just doing their thing, like they are programmed. Like going back to like metaphors of the Matrix, like they literally are programmed. Like it's we sort of forget like how much we are like biological computers, and through like our environment we are encoded with these like other programs. So again, like what reality are you like allowing to like come into what it is that creates you, you know? Like, are you just like listening to the news, you know? Like, are you eating like certain food or whatever? Yeah, man. So I mean, yeah, just like keeping in mind that like it's totally within everyone. Like this spark, this ability to just sort of like see the flower of life is just another way to put it. But I mean, that's what keeps us moving forward, man. Like and it's been awesome because I mean, just like looking back on the last like 3-4 years, like you said, like Kapwon, like you yourself, like 4 or 5 years ago, guys like us, we were just sort of like figuring out all this stuff on our own. All of us were figuring out about sacred geometry this day and age, like 4 or 5 years ago on, you know, another full moon back in time, or like in the present time, if you want to think about it that way, because like literally like the past life, the present life, the future is all happening simultaneously. So like the actions are just like continuously like interweaving and everything like that. Like crazy cloud atlas stuff is for real, is what I'm saying. So yeah, man, we are far more powerful than we have been often told from the stories of our past.
Yeah, most definitely. That's kind of the most powerful message to leave the end of the show on. That like, just believe in yourself. Just believe in yourself and follow your heart. Like that's the best that I can give to anyone. Yeah, is believe in yourself and follow your heart. And no matter what anyone tells you or how many people try and put you down, let that fuel you and let that fuel your dream, because you can achieve anything and you can change this world if you want to. The decision is yours, or you can make it. It's up to you.
For sure, man. For sure. I agree. I think that is like just like the theme that we have to remind people of, and also the thing that gives us that extra bit of courage is the fact that through mediums like this, like through artists like Kapwon, like we know that like we're not alone. Because I think going back 4 or 5 years ago, it felt like everything was just like so spread out, and it felt like we were alone. There was like more of that illusion, but like now it is right in front of us. Like it is not just something we do like kind of here and there. Like it is like a lifestyle. It is a hobby. It is a passion. This thing that we are committed to is really something to be grateful for. I mean, think back 4 or 5 years ago. Like, did you guys sort of see this where we are right now? Could you guys see this? 'Cause, I mean, I know I could. I know I could to a degree. I could to a degree, and I'm really happy to be here.
I expect that people would wake up as fast as they have, because the ignorance that people were displaying at that time, I didn't have people, because there was so much ignorance around me. And then it was only 2011, 2012, as soon as all of the global protests started, and I just knew that I'd read and everything that I'd researched, it was all pointing in the direction of this global awakening and humanity returning to the true roots of who we are and what we're here to do, and our true purpose on this planet, which most definitely isn't to work 9 to 5 and please your boss and try and hit targets and moan about whatever. That's most definitely not why we're here.
Yeah, it's far more to express and to experience. So, someone in the comment or in the live chat right now, MJ Space Friend, she was just talking about like the idea that like waking up is hitting critical mass. I mean, the idea of critical mass, like I like that idea, like the 100th monkey effect, and I think we are the 100th monkey. Like we're doing right now, we are the 100th monkey, like straight up, and it's an ongoing thing. But yeah, like as we continue to do it, it helps like more people be able to like happen. It just happens like faster and more naturally for them. Just like as more of us wake up, it's like the pathways, the neural pathways, like neurons that wire together, fire together, and we're just like
yeah, man,
we're creating that network, right? So. We're feeding off each other. We're building spaceships, man. Like our bodies are spaceships. Travel through like space and dimensions, man. Blast off. That's what I'm saying.
Shout out to
right.
DMT.
Hashtag DMT. Anyway. So with 4.5 minutes left in the show, I agree, Kapwon. I think just stressing the fact that like be the change that you want to see in the world, and spend time with yourself and figure out what it is that you want to create, what it is that's in your heart, what it is that inspires, and what it is that you're passionate about, and what it is that you can bring into the lives of others, and then do it. You know, take that next step, take that first breath. So, Kapwon, final messages that we sort of have for the people here before we send them on their way from your end of things.
My final message is that everyone just keep doing what you're doing and just know yourself and
what was that last sentence? And then it like that out.
I just said the most powerful message I'd leave you with would be know yourself, and the possibilities are endless.
The possibilities are endless. Nocete ipsum. That's what it's all about. So, as above, so below. As
That's
we
what's
say here
up,
on
man.
Paradigm Shift Radio. So, yeah, man. Sweet. Connecting that bridge to the higher self. Building the bridge. The rainbow bridge. We got it. Gonna write a song about that. Cool, man. All right, Vaughn, do you have anything to say? And then we'll just get into like the final wrap up here.
No, I just gotta say peace out, keys. I gotta go to sleep. I gotta work early.
All right.
And thanks for having me on the show tonight.
Oh, my pleasure,
enough
man.
Respect,
and
brother,
we'll,
enough respect, man.
Yeah, I've been having
on Facebook, right, Kapwon?
Yeah, real man. We'll hook up, bro. We'll talk definitely, man.
Perfect.
All right. Peace out, Key.
Peace,
Thanks,
my
Vaughn.
brother. Peace.
Peace. Yeah, I'm glad you guys got to connect. That's awesome to be able to have you on together. So
real synchronicity of that just shows, you know, it's for Zulu Nation and Guerrilla Republic to hook up on the radio station.
Yeah.
Man, it was
bound to happen. Like me and Vaughn, we've been doing stuff for a while, man. So I mean, the Zulu Nation thing, like I know we just got into that not too long ago. And again, like Zulu Nation is like another sort of like hip hop like inspired networking community, as is Guerrilla Republic. Oh, sweet. All right, Kapwon, any bonus last message, and then I'll just close it off here.
I'm done, man. I just want to say thank you very much for having me on. It's been a pleasure, and enough respect to you and all of your listeners, man.
Thank you, brother. So kapwonartist.co.uk is where you can go to check out his work and buy some of his T-shirts and get ready for his new album that is going to be coming out in the future. So that's Emerald Tablets EP. So keep an eye open for that. And again, go back and listen to this episode again and check out all his stuff on YouTube. So just to wrap things up here, again, everybody, please check out facebook.com/ParadigmShiftRadio, and a reminder to check out the Journey to Lucidity movie. You can watch that right now. Maybe after the show you want to do that later tonight. Facebook.com/Journey to Lucidity. You'll see a link there for the Indiegogo campaign. Donate there, and I'll hook you up with a link to watch it on YouTube. So that's all the links that you really need, and we're going to wrap things up here officially. So Facebook.com/SkullBabylon, YouTube.com/SkullBabylon. Find me there. And until next time, thank you once again, Kapwon, for first, perhaps more future times for being on the show, because I would love to have you back on the show in the future now that we've sort of really gotten the ball rolling on this. So thank you personally, Kapwon, for being on the show tonight.
Yeah,
cheers. All right,
brother. Thank you very much, and I'll definitely be back, man. Definitely.
For sure, man. For sure. Sweet. And a thank you to all the listeners. You guys are all a part of this. This is our story. This is our objective, to be able to shift consciousness. So, as is above, so is below. This is Skull Babylon. Thank you once again for listening to Paradigm Shift Radio. And until next time, we'll see you in the future. Namaste.